Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Node Investor here. Happy SegWit day. Today, the big news was Litecoin activates SegWit. So what I'm going to talk about today is an in-depth analysis on the top 5 cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to be looking at some technical analysis, looking at some charts for Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to talk Ripple. We're going to talk Litecoin and NEM. We're going to definitely talk about NEM. I'm going to ultimately do a top 10 review, which will take us through Dash, Ethereum Classic, Monero, Stellar Lumens, and yes, I'm even going to talk about some Steem since it's technically number 10. Not bashing Steem, but just saying. So let's do the top 5 today. But before we get started, let's take a quick look at the markets. Bitcoin, $1,700 and $1,746, and again, this is US dollar for those overseas. Ethereum coming in $88, Dash $87, Litecoin 31.7, depending where you look. I think Coinbase had it around 32, 33. Monero $30, Ripple 18 cents. Nice big day today. Ethereum Classic $6 and basically 50 cents. Pivx, the slide continues on Pivx. And Zcash $94, Factum $8.50. And let's look at NEM real quick because some of you guys don't like that I don't talk about NEM. 11 cents on NEM. We're going to go in depth on this one today. What else? Stellar 3 cents. Stellar Lumens. Let me see some other coins coming up. So the news today was Litecoin activates SegWit, and so we saw that happen today. That was a pretty big deal for the cryptocurrency market, supposed to lead to some other things. We'll see where it goes. There was a lot of volatility. Altcoins have kind of been pulling back a little bit here, and so that's what prompted this. I want to talk about that. Before we get started though, I have something funny to share with you guys. So I'm looking at some videos today and I see one and I'm going, hey, this is pretty cool. They're talking about Bitcoin 1800, Ethereum, Ripple. I hit play. And guess what, guys? It's my video on another YouTube channel. Literally a ripoff, copy paste, put their intro on it, and it's my video. One, I'm flattered. I thought that was pretty hilarious. But seriously, guys, if you're gonna rip off my video, at least give me some credit, right? Say, hey, here's the original. And if you're gonna ask for some BTC donations on my video, hey man, share some of that wealth. But seriously, bro, stop copying my videos. So let's get into the charts. So let's talk Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin is basically 1780, and after this recent breakout above the 1250 area, we're kind of in a little bit of a channel. I mean, it's probably too short to say this is a channel, but it really is, right? It's a pretty steep channel. You can see it's taken us basically from the 1250 range now up to this, just knocking on the door of $1,800. Should this trajectory continue, you're gonna see Bitcoin at $2,000 by next week, basically. Possibly sooner, possibly not. It seems to be respecting this shorter term 10-day exponential moving average. It's actually above it, so this is a pretty steep curve on Bitcoin. Should it pause here and decide to pull back, what could we see? Well, the channel would be the first area, right? So the 1730 bouncing around here. The next one would be this shorter term moving average. If it decides to really correct from here, what would be some ideal places to look? Horizontal support is going to be around this 1250. I don't think we would see it come back that far. Anything's possible. Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies really are known for volatility. But we could see it pull back. If we zoom out a little bit here, and now it's not exact, but you can see this longer term, really general trend that just kind of cuts through the middle of the chart. Okay, so it's not an exact, obviously we're trading above, below, around it. You know, we kind of come up, come down to it, but it kind of connects some key lows along the way. You can see these lows going all the way back to $600-700. Sound support around 800, and these lows just kind of keep getting tested. So if that is a trend, a longer term trend, year plus, then that would mean we could probably correct all the way down to about $1,400-1,500, and it wouldn't really be an issue in terms of long-term Bitcoin, and then bounce from there. So there's a couple of scenarios. Overall, Bitcoin is just super strong, continues its bull run. I think $2,000 Bitcoin is a little bit of a psychological target / barrier. So wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bitcoin just continue up and hit $2,000 before we decide what happens next. Maybe it corrects from there. Maybe it bases out a little bit and pauses, digests the move, and then decides to go up. Anything's possible, but that's kind of where I'm thinking near term. We'll probably see $2,000. Let's go to Ethereum, number 2 on the list. I'm going to stick to Coinbase pricing here. Let me find it. Ethereum on Coinbase. So Ethereum's interesting, right? So this is the daily again. This is going back to where it broke out. If you guys remember, we had the big run up, and then it based out for about a month. And this is where I issued the first alert, right here at this $50 to $53 range. We saw the breakout. I hope you guys were paying attention. Started talking about this here, and we quickly ran up within a couple of days. And, we kind of first level went to about 80, paused for a little bit, popped right back up, and we seem to be hitting this little zone around the $95, $97 range where it doesn't really want to go higher yet. Then we've seen this kind of last couple of days selling down, and then there was the panic, Poloniex and other things started happening. Little panic selling here, but you can see this little tail where they basically bought it right back up, and so that is a good sign. Coincidentally, it also hits that moving average. So that moving average is being respected right now. That shorter term 10 EMA moving average, the tail hit there. So Ethereum's at a little bit of a juncture here. If it wants to move higher, it's gonna do it very soon. Otherwise, we're gonna see this moving average fail, this downtrend continue, and we might end up testing this moving average around the $70, $67 mark. Another way to look at it too is there's this little bit of pause, little bit of support, a base, and then another one. So that could be another level. Also is where this hit around 75. So near term on the downside, 75 looks like a pretty strong support area. We'll see what happens. I think Ethereum's going to have to make a move here soon. If it wants to move higher, it's right at the moving averages. This would be a good place to pop from and continue another leg up. Maybe we break the $100 mark. Another scenario would be just bouncing around here again, doing one of these numbers where we did back in March, April, where kind of bounced, came down, settled in, and then went up. That would be the best case scenario for Ethereum. I know you guys wanted to see $100, $150 here by next week. I get it, but best case scenario for a longer term sustained move would be for Ethereum to just kind of settle in around here, at least for another week or so, and then power higher up. So those are my thoughts on Ethereum. I still like Ethereum. I think it's a long term, got a lot of potential. Will probably cross the $100 mark soon, and people are talking about maybe $200 Ethereum by end of the year. Certainly in the realm of possibility. So keep an eye on Ethereum here. It's going to make its move here shortly. Let's move on to the next one, Ripple. So Ripple, let me find the chart first before I start talking about it. And on the Poloniex USD tether. So this is the daily chart again. Ripple has really been making some waves lately. No pun intended, but it really has been in the news. It had the big run up early this year, went basically to 6 cents, and then it had this real tight, quiet base around 3.5 cents. And I was watching it here, doing a lot of research. I really like the Ripple leadership team. I like the business concept. The banks seem to love it, which is a good thing. It has some flaws. It's got a lot of privately held supply, which is not a good thing. But chart-wise, it had the breakout, quickly ran up to about 6-ish, and basically was a double. settled in for a couple of days, and then it just kind of started respecting this little trend for the last week or so. And it took it all the way up to 25. I mean, Ripple was just crazy strong. There was some big sellers that showed up here on the 25, and then it just kind of has been doing this shorter term downtrend, but still respecting this uptrend. So Ripple is a little bit of a juncture here too. Let's zoom into the nearer term charts here. So this is the 4-hour period chart. Here's the trend line I drew, and you can see where it's just really kind of respecting that trend line, but it's also respecting this consolidation here. So we're going to see what happens next here very shortly on Ripple. Ripple's going to either decide to pop up to the $25, it could hit the trend line and then decide to continue higher, or it could just completely break down here. If that happens, let's zoom out a little bit. These smaller consolidation points are probably your near-term support. There was a lot of support here on $13, $12 range. So if we decide to break down, it'll probably be an intermediate top. Ripple consolidates. You'll see first level support around 13, and then the next level of support around 10, 11-ish. So if you like Ripple, keep an eye on Ripple here. Looks like it's going to want to make a move up. That's my expectation. If it breaks down below this trend line, all bets are off, and I would expect Ripple to probably test the $10, the 10-cent range. So that's Ripple. Here's the breakouts on the longer term chart. So let's look at specifically, I'd like to see Ripple close around, I want to say the 1922 area and hold it for a little bit, and maybe test it and then bounce right back up. So that's Ripple. Let's go on to the next one, Litecoin. Let's talk Litecoin. So Litecoin had an interesting week, had an interesting day. Litecoin, oops, excuse me guys, let me find my charts here. Litecoin, SegWit activated on Litecoin. The big question was, what happens next? Does Litecoin decide to correct? Do we explode higher? Initially, there was a little bit of a pop. Early this morning, there was a $38, $39 Litecoin on Coinbase. Has been selling off a little bit for the most part the last several hours. But what I want to show you guys here is this intermediate trend. So Litecoin, if we zoom out, has this longer term almost channel. It's a wide channel. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. Now granted, Litecoin has gone very steep very fast, but if you look at this longer term almost channel, it's not a perfect channel by any means, but if we look at just kind of this zone here, that's what I'm looking at, is Litecoin kind of being the longer term trend for the near term. If we look at it from that perspective, if it continues to bounce around in this channel, we're at the top of the channel, which means we could certainly come right back down to the $20 mark, $27 mark. But this channel, if we continue, basically puts Litecoin at the $50 range, which is the old highs, by June. So we could certainly see Litecoin testing the old highs by June. That would be quite the move for Litecoin. After $50, who knows, right? That could be the ultimate top, and may not want to go higher. I doubt it personally. I still think we'll go higher. Whether that happens this year or not is yet to be seen. Let's hide this channel here real quick, and let's look at the near term, very near term, okay? So this arrow that I'm drawing here, this is just a general trend that we've been in following what I'm going to call the Coinbase announcements. And this big pop here is where we saw they announced Litecoin being added to Coinbase to join Bitcoin and Ethereum. We kind of gone up, went down. We see the blue moving average here. We see this purple one being tested. So I just kind of went across the middle here using the same trajectory. You're basically at the same point. You're looking at $50 Litecoin by end of May sometime. And so overall, Litecoin's looking really strong. So far, acting okay following SegWit. We'll see if this can hold. Near-term support seems to be around this $30, $31 mark. It seems to keep bouncing off of it. It was previously resistance. It kept trying to get over it, had a quick pull back, and then popped right over. Now it seems to be acting like a little bit of a short-term support. So I think Litecoin at around $31 is potentially a good entry point if Litecoin is going to go higher. Now, that's not a recommendation for you to buy or sell or do anything. This is strictly my opinion and me educating you on these charts. So I like Litecoin here. If it decides to pause here, it'll probably pull back. It could certainly pull back to this $23, $25 area and be perfectly fine. And so Litecoin, I believe, is still going to go higher. We'll see. I did some analysis on Litecoin based on market cap. Basically, a $2 billion market cap for Litecoin is $40. We're basically there. A $3 billion market cap for Litecoin is $60. I think we'll settle in somewhere between there in the near term, meaning next couple of months or so. Probably test the old highs at 50. Will it happen before June? Who knows? But let's keep an eye on Litecoin. Looking pretty strong here. Finally, let's talk NEM. So NEM, I'm going to show NEM in the BTC chart, okay? So this is not dollars, this is in BTC. So this is the ratio of NEM versus Bitcoin. And this is on the Poloniex exchange. So what are we looking at here? So there's a couple of things to note. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys and hide this. So NEM, there was this little bit of a base after an initial run up, and it was kind of testing this 4,000, 4,100 mark. I know a couple of you guys hit me up on the Twitter saying, hey, do you like NEM here? And I said, I'd like to see it close above 41, 42 for more than an hour or two. And it did. And I hope you got my message back saying it's go time. And it was right around here. And quickly NEM popped, went all the way up to about 9,000, where it saw a lot of selling coming in right around here. Since then, NEM has been on this downtrend. So you can see the tops are getting lower and lower here. What I like though is it's respecting this uptrend so far. So we're at a juncture with NEM. We're kind of seeing a theme here with a lot of these altcoins. Are they correcting? Are they putting in a longer term top? Or are they pausing and ready to break out again? I think some of these, it's the latter. I think we're gonna maybe test this trend line and decide to go up. So what I'd like to see in NEM here is I'd like to see NEM show some volume on the move up. A close around 7,500 would be nice, and sustain it. We could certainly decide to go up from there. I think we're going to be some testing around the 85 to 9,000 mark before it really starts to move out again. All around, I like NEM right here. If it breaks the trend here, then all bets are off. So risk reward ratio here is pretty good, right? So if you look at what the downside is, you'll know pretty quick if it's not going to work out in the near term. So it could just move straight down to this 4,000 mark and then retest this area as a level of support, which is 4,000, or it could decide to just go straight from here. So I'm liking NEM here. Keep an eye on it. Here's the zoomed out chart a little bit more. Again, NEM has, just like many of the others, basically gone parabolic. If you look at the daily chart, you really can't do any analysis on the daily. Looking at NEM, it's just gone parabolic. So similar to the other ones, I'd like for it to consolidate here a little bit, so maybe pop up around this 7,500, base out a little bit more. Will we get that opportunity? Who knows? Maybe not. Near term, NEM is looking pretty good, so keep an eye on this one, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. One thing I do want to note is I'm going to do a newsletter on the top 10. So I'm going to include these charts and my analysis through the 5 we just reviewed, but I'm also going to cover Dash, Ethereum Classic, Monero, Stellar, and Steam. And so for those of you that are getting my newsletter, you'll see that out within the next day or two. If you're not getting my newsletter, it's free. Go ahead and go to Node Investor. You can go to the homepage or the commentary page. You'll see a sign up form here. Go ahead and pop in your email address and I'll go ahead and send that out to you guys. I hope this information was helpful, guys. I really appreciate all you guys watching. I appreciate the comments and all of the subscribers and the support that I've been getting. I'm going to do my best to keep this coming along. Until next time, take care.